Hello, hello. Sec, I just need to. Sorry, one sec. I just need to stop this music that's playing. Hello, everyone. Hi. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me live tonight. I'm just going to give a few minutes as everyone is jumping in. Okay. Let me reshare my screen here. Oh, hang on. The music won't stop. All right. Sorry. Give me one sec. This music won't stop on me. Again. Okay. All right. Whilst I wait, I just give everyone just a few minutes just to log on. Please write in the chat. Please tell me where you are from. I would love to see where everyone is logging in at. Just in the chat, if you're not familiar with Zoom, just in the bottom, there should be a little chat function. Christina's from Sydney. Beautiful. Brisbane. Great. Melbourne, Ipswich, Perth, Adelaide. Oh, thanks, guys. Hi. Hey, Shelby. Gold Coast, perfect. Bathurst, Central Vic, Gold Coast, Melbourne. It has been sweltering up here. Today actually was such a change in temperature compared to the last few days. Brisbane, Ipswich, perfect. Amazing. Well, I'm excited to spend the next 90 minutes or so with all of you and sharing everything that I know and love about how you can prepare for a positive pregnancy and birth. So even if you're just planning on, maybe this is the year you want to start trying to have a baby, it doesn't matter if you're not pregnant, this information is absolutely for you as well. And for those of you who are pregnant, then this information is absolutely for you. Just got still people jumping in, so I'll just wait another minute or so. But it's so good to see I've got from all over Tassie, even Bordertown. Where is that, Angela? Werribee, Melbourne, Gold Coast. Cool. Melbourne. Okay. Awesome. All right. Well, I'll just keep the participants here so if I can see if anyone else wants to jump in, and I might actually just take the waiting room off so they can just come in. Beautiful. I've got the chat open. Okay. Well, before we get started, a little bit about me, and this is also for any if there's any birth partners or any guys joining tonight, thank you. Trust me, I'm not gonna bore you to tears. This is just some information for you as well to help you understand some conversations that you can have together to help you prepare for this journey that you're on. My name is Shari Lyon. I have been a hypnobirthing practitioner for 11 years, I got my 10-year badge last year. This is my 11th year teaching hypnobirthing. I'm a childbirth educator. I'm also a master NLP and hypnosis practitioner and transformational life coach. So my passion in life is to support women and partners on your journey to help you discover yourselves and birth yourselves into a mother, and also to help you just understand your options and just kind of be that beacon of light for you. I'm not here as a birth coach to tell you that there's just one way to birth your baby, because there's not. But I am a mum of two myself. I've actually used all of the tools and techniques that I've been teaching parents for 11 years. I've used them personally and I know that they work. I was terrified of giving birth, like absolutely terrified. And without the information I received with the hypnobirthing course that I did and all of the I guess support that I had, there was no way I would have had the birth that I did. But yes, I have been awarded numerous awards by Hypnobirthing Australia, and I was awarded the top practitioner in Australia for 2020. I have taught and supported thousands of women and birth partners from all over the world, and it's just so nice to see that there's so many of you from all over Australia. But I have, through COVID, taught clients from England to the US. It's been really great. So I do ultimately, my main, I guess, offering is I do offer childbirth education courses. So that's on the Gold Coast and also online as well. And I will be sharing a little bit about what it is that you guys can go into the draw to win. But you do have to stick around. So the offer to go into the draw, there'll be something special that you have to do. So if you do jump off early, it is at the end that I will tell you how you can go into the draw. So I encourage you to stick around if you can, because what you can go into the draw to win is my brand new all-inclusive self-paced childbirth education program. I'm actually birthing something new myself. This is like my baby number 3. I've got two babies at the moment. Well, they're not babies actually. Harley's 13 this year, and my daughter is 10 this year. So they're still my hypno bubs. But this is, I feel like this is a baby within itself. The gestation of this program has been months and months in the making and creation, and I'm super excited to share this with you all at the basically tonight. You're the first ones to kind of really hear about this. So yeah, stick around. It's going to be worth it for you. I'm also the host of the Nurture Hub Pregnancy and Birth podcast, and I host this with my beautiful friend, Nicola Lay. Nicola is an amazing breath work practitioner, has also supported lots of women in pregnancy and birth. So this is a free resource as well. If you would like to learn more, we bring in experts. I have clients that come in and share birth stories. It's a really great resource for both of you to, I guess, delve into helping you to understand more options, because I just want everyone to have this information. So this is why I share this stuff. So hang on one sec. I feel like someone's drawing on my screen. Hang on. How can they do that? Okay. Is someone drawing on my screen? I can see a little line and someone else's cursor. One sec. Don't know who it is, but okay. So let's delve in. First of all, I'd love to actually get a bit of a gauge for those of you who are here. Are you pregnant or are you planning? Can you just pop in the chat and let me know? And also maybe let me know how many weeks you are if you are pregnant. Or if you're planning, amazing, because I will share information to help you really plan this. Pregnant, 14 weeks, 34 weeks, beautiful. Pregnant, 36 weeks, not long. 34 weeks, 33, 18 weeks. Okay, great. Anyone planning a pregnancy? From what I've seen, most of you are pregnant. Congratulations. Pregnant 38 weeks. Okay, very close. Could be any day for some of you. Pregnant 18 weeks. Great. Well, do you know what? It's never too early or too late to gain information. I can say that I have supported parents right up to 40 weeks, and I've had some clients come to do my courses at 39 weeks. And I had one client actually last year. She finished unit 4 and went into labor that night and had an amazing birth. She had quite a traumatic first birth and came along and did the course with me for her second. And it, for her, was life-changing. And she literally was like in the course going like, I'm not sure how I'm feeling like tonight. And I said to her, like, I could tell, I was like, just go home and go straight to sleep. And she couldn't. She ended up going into labor and had the baby that night and had an amazing birth. So that was really cool. Like, left it to right to last minute, but it helped her. Okay, great. Now, the next question I would love to ask you is, what's the first thing that comes to mind when you think about giving birth? Be honest, because I was terrified. So Pain. Yep. Pain. What thoughts have been coming up? Meeting your baby. Yes. Excitement. Great. Painful and powerful. Love that. Terrified, stressed, exhausted. The unknown. Yes, Ruby, that is a big one. Meeting the baby. Circumstances that are outside of our control. Okay, I'm going to speak to that. Being induced, and for a long time. I'm also going to speak to this. Losing control and choice. I think this is the big one. And I'm definitely going to speak to this tonight. The journey into motherhood. Yeah. Letting go, which is very hard for many of us now, like to let go. Emergency C-section. Yeah. Being loved and love unconditionally. That's beautiful. Yeah. Okay. So a bit of a mixed bag there, which is, I mean, it's great to see that some of you are really excited. The theme does tend to be, though, quite fearful. And I want to normalize that for all of you. Okay. There is an element, there's a big element of the unknown for us. And I think that's where I come from, a place of going, I know I was terrified of giving birth. I have coached and supported women for the last 11 years. And really, like most of us, there are some reservations or fears that come with what lies ahead of us. And I want to normalize that. It's okay. And this is kind of where we need to understand how we are wired as humans. All right. We as humans are creatures of certainty. We want to be certain of an outcome. When we're not certain of an outcome, what do we tend to prepare ourselves for? It tends to be the worst. It's just how we grow up. We grow up being conditioned to always be on alert. And to be honest, it's been actually ancestral with, back in the caveman days, we had to always be on alert for potential danger, for the threat of predators. And that's where fear was actually really good for us back then, because it was instinctual for us for survival. Okay. So when we understand how we're wired, but how we're also different, like as other mammals on this planet to what, like being humans, we've got to understand how that fear, though, can affect us when it comes to labor and birth. And when we've got to understand that we as humans, we are actually mammals. And as mammals, there is a part of the brain that is wired to birth our babies. We all have the same instinct of survival, but also birth. Birth is actually instinctual. Pregnancy and birth is actually a normal physiological function of the body. So physiology is where how our body is designed to work and function. And when it's working effectively and as it should, that is physiology. Sometimes pathology can come in, and this is where some complications can come in. But majority of the time, if you're able to conceive your baby, whether that be that you are able to conceive naturally, or you might have needed a little bit of help with science, if your body took that baby and is now growing your baby, your body's doing exactly what it's designed to do. And if you're having a normal, healthy, uncomplicated pregnancy, there should be no reason why you can't have a normal, healthy, uncomplicated birth. And when we can come to this awareness of the power of the mind-body connection, and this is exactly what I delve into and what I teach within the first unit of my programs, is the mindset is huge. However, we've got to understand that we as humans, we have this huge prefrontal cortex. It's called the neocortex. So the primal brain governs all instinctual behaviors and bodily functions, but the neocortex is that thinking part of the brain. And we have the largest neocortex of all mammals. So that thinking part of the brain has done us really good in our evolution. However, that thinking part of the brain is also very much always thinking and preparing in case of danger. And we've got to understand that what the mind believes, the body perceives. So if we are in a state where we keep overthinking all of potential scenarios of the pain of having an emergency cesarean, losing control, not, or having to have an induction, or all the things that could go wrong in birth, then our brain actually believes that there is a threat there. And if we feel threatened, so if those thoughts that you're having right now about pregnancy, birth, becoming a parent, if those thoughts continue, that are then going to produce feelings of anxiety, stress, like fear, worry, feeling pressured or threatened, then instinctually the body will actually go into what's called the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn response, because that is also instinctual for us. So this is why I wanted to see where you're all at with your mindset at the moment. What's coming up for you? Because let's discuss it. Because for us to have a positive, empowered birthing experience, only you can empower yourself. And this is something that I realized, thank God I realized it actually through my pregnancy, because I was stuck in the loop of the what if, the pain. I really believed I had a low pain threshold. So I can absolutely relate to all of you. The first thing you thought of is how painful it's going to be. That's exactly where I went. But along with that, I had a massive fear of the pain, but I also had a huge fear of needles. And so I wanted to avoid that epidural. That for me was also causing huge anxiety. So I was in this predicament of going, I don't know what to do. Like, okay, well, what are the options? Like induction, cesarean, but they carried a lot of needles. And I'm sure that there was pain still associated with that. I was just in this loop. Yet there was something inside of me, I know who it was. It was me. It was like my higher self saying, like, you're not flawed. You can do this. You just need to learn how. Because I had realized that throughout my life, I had never heard or seen any positive representation of birth. Even my own birth story was quite traumatic. The way I heard my mother talk about my birth story and her experience would scare anyone. Because she truly believed that if she would have had me naturally, we both would have not made it. And that's what she was told. So that was her experience. But then her projecting that onto me also became my beliefs. And here is where we've got to understand how through the journey of our life, we've actually been instilled with a lot of fears of birth in our culture. And so here is where I want to help you in this webinar to share a little bit of insight about how you can create this journey for yourself, but you cannot rely on anyone else, unfortunately. And here is where having knowledge, and you might have heard of the term knowledge is power. So if knowledge is power, then knowledge about yourself is self-empowerment. And as much as we think that we can have our medical caregivers in there with us, we can't rely on them to create our experience or reduce fears or, I guess, do it for us. We still have to do it. So my aim for this webinar is to help you all stimulate some questions about what it is you want. Like, what does an empowered birth mean to you? And if you have a pen or take a photo of this slide here, these are the kinds of conversations that I would encourage you to start having with the people or the person that you want to do this with, or that you're going to ask to support you on this journey. And I guess the first thing that I want to ask you is, like, what do you want for your birth? Like, what does a positive and empowered birth mean to you? Because every birth is unique. Every birth is different. Every journey is unique and different. And that's exactly why I've called my new program The Journey to Birth. because the journey is not linear. However, if you were to set off on a road trip and you had not considered what the journey, or like you literally just get in the car and drive, you don't really know where you're going. It takes some, I guess, awareness of the different roads you can take. And sometimes you may start off on one road, there may be a roadblock, but then what's the detour going to look like? But ultimately, what's that end destination? Where do you want to be and how do you want to feel? What do you want to feel during this experience? Do you want to continue to feel anxious, to feel pressured, to feel unsafe, to feel out of control? Is this what you want? So how can I, or we, or have someone help show you that you can actually change the way you think about birth and change the way you feel about it? However, if we keep being surrounded by people who keep sharing, I guess, not so great birth stories, or maybe you've had a not so great past birth and that's playing on you, for us to have a different kind of birth to what we've maybe heard or seen or past experienced, we need to do something different. And the first thing is understanding what it is you want. You know, I think we get so wrapped up in all of the material things, and we'll do all this research about all the different kinds of prams that are available, or cots or swaddles or things like that. But so many women I talk to don't think about or do any research about what's available to them when it comes to their birth. And this is such an important journey you are all on, for those of you who are pregnant. This is a journey of self-discovery for us. And if you're planning a pregnancy, this journey lies ahead of you. When we are pregnant, things change, our body changes, we are growing a human, our life is about to change. It is a rite of passage that we go through as women and also partners or men. And a rite of passage is where we go through something pivotal in our life that then we are never the same again. And birth is one, and birth will change you. And I speak from so much like honesty in regards to how much my experience changed me as a person, changed the whole trajectory of my career, because I felt this calling that I wanted to help other women and parents through that journey and just hold that space for them so that they could come out of it the other side and be super proud of themselves. And that's what I want for all of you. Do you want a natural birth? If you do want to approach this as naturally as possible, then what is it that you can do to help you best achieve that? Because I'm telling you now, if you go in with the blinkers on and you're like, I'm just going to go with the flow. And look, there is an element of going with the flow. However, whose flow are you going with? So what does a natural birth mean to you, though? Because some women think that, well, if I birth my baby out of my vagina, that's a natural birth. And so it's kind of understanding, well, you can have a vaginal birth, but it's not necessarily natural, because natural is where your body starts the labor on its own without any interventions, without, I guess, things that can inhibit that natural hormonal process. So do you feel prepared and equipped to do that? And if you don't, then feel that in yourself and then go, well, what is it that I can do to reduce this feeling? Okay, knowledge, tools, support, preparation. And just understanding the different journeys that you can take, because this was never really discussed with me. Even actually in my hypnobirthing course 12 years ago, it wasn't fully really discussed about what those journeys really looked like. And that's why over the last 11 years, I've got to this point where I've wanted to create this program where I want to share what the journeys can look like to help you create a map and understand your options so that every step of the way, it's things you've already considered or you're really equipped with questions. Birth partners, if there's any guys here, like, do you understand birth? Because when I said to my husband, like, I need something, what can we do? And he's like, baby, just go to the hospital and you push your baby out. And I'm like, easy for you to say. I'm like, but do you know how to support me? And when I actually started asking him questions, he started realizing how much he knew nothing about birth. And dads, please know, like, I had a group of 14 couples in my group on Saturday. And when I asked the dads together, what do they know about birth? They all looked at each other and they were just like, they had no idea, because no one's ever really told you guys. A lot of the time it's the mums that go to the hospital appointments, and not to say you're left out. I'm not saying that at all. However, culturally, we've got to understand that a lot of the times it's and historically, like, only less than 40 years ago, 50 years ago, not many men attended births. Like 60 years ago, men weren't even allowed in the birth space. So there's still that bit of ancestral conditioning, like there's not a place for you. I'm here to tell you there absolutely is. Knowing how to advocate for your partner, knowing that if you see that she is experiencing pain, what can you do? And I think this is where a lot of guys who turn up into the birth space, they've not been, I guess, told or shown or given knowledge or tools and techniques. They feel like they're going to get in the way. And so they sit in the corner and detach and just get on their phone because they don't know what else to do. So they will detach from the situation because they don't know how to help her because no one's told her or shown her. So I don't want that for any of the dads here or birth partners or whoever it is that you're having in with you. Understanding that the role together is like you're doing this together as a team. So what is it that birth partners need to know, learn, understand to help you mums when maybe you can't speak up for yourself? Have you chosen the right caregiver? This is probably one of the most important decisions that we make. And I'm going to talk a little bit about this as well. And knowing that we have choice. I think this is really important because when I first found out that I was pregnant, I don't think I was given any choice. I went to my GP. They asked if I had private health, which I had private, but I didn't have the maternity because my pregnancy with my son actually wasn't planned. I had gone private for everything. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I've got to go to public. And I didn't know, like, is that good? Is that bad? Like, I had no idea. But they're like, okay, we'll send your referral to the public. And I just went, okay. I didn't question if there's any models. What would, could I still go private and still pay? Not that I would have been able to afford it after, I was living with my parents at the time. We'd just finished backpacking around the world. So we didn't have the money. However, I wasn't even given the option, but I didn't even know what questions to ask. I think this is why I want to create this resource for you to help you stimulate questions, because understanding that here in Australia, our birth culture, we only see inductions are normal, cesarean is normal, epidurals are normal in our culture. And the statistics show that. Here in Australia, we have a 38% cesarean rate at the moment. Almost 46% of first-time mothers are having their labour induced. 80% of women in Australia are having medical pain relief. That's epidurals, opiates, morphine, pethidine, gas. 80%. So when we talk about birth in our culture here, it's very medicalized. And to the point where people will even ask you if you've booked in, or are you going to get the epidural? Because you kind of seen if you don't want that you're kind of a bit crazy, because culturally over the decades, it has become so normal in birth to induce labor, for women to have cesareans and to have pain relief. And there's absolutely a time and place for these interventions, and I'll speak to this. But do you have a pain management plan? Like what can you do to reduce the pain? So Do you have knowledge to speak up for what you want? And this is where understanding our, again, conditioning of protection for us as women, understanding the fight, flight, freeze, but there's a fourth response that we can go into, and it's called fawning. And this is something that a lot of women and even men can do it as well, don't realize that appeasing or fawning is a way to protect ourselves. And I've actually got a whole podcast episode with a psychologist about how fawning shows up in birth and birth trauma. And it comes in the way of, if we don't feel safe in a situation, or if we feel threatened, that it's kind of like a bit of a Stockholm syndrome, where you kind of go, oh, I just need to do as I'm told. And once it's over, then that I'll be safe. And so there unfortunately is an element to this that shows up big time for us in birth, that if we are in an environment we don't feel safe, or maybe someone comes in, or maybe someone says to us, oh, I won't allow you to go over 40 weeks, because we're not, and I guess we don't grow up seeing ourselves as the experts in our body, we kind of don't question. And there's a real big ancestral conditioning for us as women of, be a good girl, don't be difficult, do as you're told. And there's a way of like people pleasing. So we will people please or put others' needs or wants in front of our own. And if this shows up in birth, it can then end up into a form of trauma, because we didn't realize, because we weren't prepared for what, the potential journeys we could take, or the options that could, I guess, be suggested to us, or that caregivers will want to do certain things to us. And we're never warned about that. And so when it happens, it can be quite, we can disassociate from the experience. And it's not until after the birth that then we start questioning what happened, why didn't I ask for something else? And so ultimately, this is what this is about. I just want to help you all stimulate some really good quality questions about what it is you want for this experience. I'm here to I want to help you understand you can absolutely have a positive and empowered birth. I did it. However, I realized that I had to be the one to take the keys and be the driver. And I love this quote, and I've got to credit a beautiful woman. Her name's Binny Dansby. Nicola and I interviewed her on our podcast, and she's one of the founding members. She's in her 80s of breathwork and breathwork in birth. And when she said this, I just was like, I love that. I love this, this quote. The quality of the questions you ask will determine the quality of the answers you get. And the more questions you're able to ask, then the more confident you are in making decisions. And it's important to understand that if you don't know your options, then you won't have any. And unfortunately, this is what can tend to happen when we're birthing in a very busy hospital that has so many women coming in, and they have their schedules and they want to work effectively. So what I want to help you do is see and understand that there are a few different journeys and options that we can take when it comes to bringing our baby into the world. There's no right or wrong way to birth your baby. I'm not here at all as a birth coach to tell you that you have to have a natural birth and not that natural birth is without the drugs and blah, blah. It's not that at all. I have helped thousands of women have a beautiful induction of labor, cesarean births. So it's understanding, rather than creating a birth plan, well, first you need to ask questions about what you want. Then it's then going, okay, well, what do we want, but what do we need to learn to help us achieve this? So comes the knowledge. Once you have the knowledge, then you can sit down and create a map, not so much a plan, but a birth map. And I'm going to credit Catherine Bell. She's an Australian doula who came up with the concept of birth mapping, and I just love it. Also interviewed her on my podcast, so go and listen to that interview as well. it just really brings it all in to kind of go, right, if we just put one plan on one expectation and one experience, and we've not considered any other option, and yet then that happens, that's where trauma can happen, because we've not thought or considered that, okay, maybe we need that epidural, because we've just gone, no, I'm just going to have a natural drug-free water birth, or just take me for cesarean because I'm too scared of the other options. And it's the fear that's stopping you from wanting to learn. But once you learn, the fear actually subsides. So the way that I like to share information is very balanced in, if you want to have a natural birth, I will give you all of the information, the tools, the techniques, the breath work, the movement, dads, birth partners, how, the options when it comes to hands-on techniques, massage, how you can support her. However, we've got to understand, though, that sometimes we can come up to where we'll be offered a detour, and understanding what that detour looks like. But we don't want to lose sight of what the goal is, what's important to you. So this is where, when the detour is offered, rather than going, well, because you feel like, well, that their givers are maybe saying, well, this is the way we want you to go. If you don't know else to journey on, and what that, and I, in the way of, there are times, like, we can't really, we really can't. And when we have more of a map, we can prepare for, I call them roadblocks. Maybe the labor, we get on that journey, we're doing work, movement, and we go to the town and the labor stalls, or you're there. Sorry. My internet just dropped out. Thank you for staying on. Hang on one sec. I'm just going to reshare my screen. Sorry about that. Okay, let's try this again. I'm not sure where it fully cut off, but I was just talking about the concept of creating a map. Sometimes we may have roadblocks, and I want to see it as a roadblock rather than, because if you come to a roadblock where maybe the labor slows down and stalls, your caregivers will straight away offer the detour. And that detour will be epidural, it may be cesarean, it may be augmentation to start the labor back up again with a drug. I want you to be able to look at the options and go, well, let's just reverse back a little bit, because we know that maybe the labor's slowed down because of the change of environment. Or potentially maybe our baby has got into a not so optimal position. But because we've prepared for this, we have these tools and techniques to help us reverse back and hopefully continue on the journey that we originally started on. But if you then attempt with the techniques and things like that, that maybe it doesn't progress, well, then that's where you in your heart, you have done everything, and that maybe that detour is the better option for you. But you've also prepared with tools and techniques for the detour as well. And this is exactly what I teach in my programs is, let's talk about the options and let me give you all of these tools and techniques to help you along every step of the journey that potentially could be where you could be led down, and help equip you with good quality questions so that if interventions are suggested, if you're considering an epidural, that you're asking good quality questions to get good quality answers so that you feel confident in making an informed decision, not a decision based off fear. If we stay in fight or flight or appease, short-term thinking goes out the window, rational and analytical thinking goes out the window. When we are in fight or flight, we can't think rationally or analytically. And this is why it's so important for dads, birth partners, whoever it is you're having in there with you, that they also have the same information so that they can see if a suggestion has come in and they see you kind of retreating or maybe agreeing without understanding fully what that means, that they can step in and say, can I just ask some questions so we're clear on what it is you're suggesting? Because our goal actually is to have a more natural birth. So if we take this intervention, what does that mean for us? What does that mean for our journey? Because you may not realize that by having an epidural, epidurals increase your rate of ending up in a cesarean. By starting your labor off through induction is a very different kettle of fish to physiological birth, depending on how they induce the labor. And there's steps to induction. And sometimes induction of labor can take days. And so if you weren't aware of this and you weren't prepared for that, then this is where it can end up with a cascade of interventions. And all of a sudden you find yourself in a cesarean birth going, what the hell happened to me? So instead of asking questions after, because you didn't prepare, let's ask the questions now. What do you want? Let's create a map for you. Let's understand how to create communication with your medical caregivers so that ultimately you are the driver of this experience. You are setting the map, communicating with your caregivers, because I need to advocate for your medical caregivers here as well. They need to know what you want to be able to support you in the kind of birth you want. If you don't know what you want and you go in and go, oh, you just tell me, you're literally handing the keys over to them. And I'm going to tell you right now, the system will take you on the journey that works best for them. I'm not saying that the individual caregivers within that system are like that. Okay, we have some amazing, beautiful, amazing midwives who want to support you. But if you don't know how to support yourself, then it makes it very hard for them. And we've got to understand the systems that we're birthing in. Hospitals are a big system. They want to work effectively. And we're very lucky to have the level of medical care that we do here. However, when you see the statistics of induction and cesarean and epidurals, you've got to understand that that's how the system works. That once you get to 41 weeks and 3 days, if you've not had your baby, they will want to get you booked in. And then that induction, it's kind of, unfortunately, like it's like a little bit of a conveyor belt where you kind of tick through. And I want you to know that you could have other options, but you don't know if you don't ask. And look, we need to understand that also not all hospitals are different. Every state is different. Like Queensland hospital induction rates could be very different to Tasmania. So it's very individual, and I want you to explore that and even ask your midwife things. And that's why choosing the right model of care and the right caregiver, if you haven't already, this is one of the most important things that when considering having a baby, or if you're planning a pregnancy, look into this now. Or if you're still very early on in your pregnancy, don't wait till your GP just says, okay, well, I'll just refer you here. Do your research. What's available in your area? Is it only public? Is it private? Do they have a birth center? Do they have a midwifery group practice or continuity of care model? There are many hospitals that have programs now within the public systems, and they're called like MGP programs. That means midwifery group practice programs. But I find a lot of GPs never tell women this. And by the time they find out, it's kind of too late. Does anyone know if you've got a MGP at your hospital? If you did you know about that, and how did you find out? I'd just love to get a bit of a gauge and see where everyone got their information, because when I first found out I was pregnant, I was not told at all that there was an MGP program. And it came through a friend that said, oh, when I'm pregnant, I want to go through the birth center. And I was like, oh, what's the birth center? And I was quite late in my pregnancy. And with these continuity of care models, you have to apply early, and it can be like a lottery system. So Brie, yes, through another mom. Yeah, that was like me. I'm waiting to hear if I've got into the Cosmos program at the Royal Women's Melbourne. My midwife friend told me about it. So that's great. You had a midwife friend who did tell you, yes, through friends who work there, but not through GP and midwives. Yes, I got my RPA for this. That's amazing. MGP stands for Midwifery Group Practice. Farah, it's a model of care where you've got to apply for it, and you are assigned a midwife. And that midwife you will see in most of your antenatal appointments, and they should be then like on call for your birth. And then there's a 6-week care program with them after. So it's being able to have that continuity of seeing the same midwife every time. You build a relationship. They understand what you want. They're there to support you. However, some hospitals don't have it. And if they do have it, they only have small groups, and you've got to get in early. But sometimes you can get in, like, if someone drops out. My GP told me, oh, that's great that your GP told you. Sister told me I sign up to my local family birth center only because early on a friend suggested it. So, okay, through a GP, that's great. Actually applied. Oh, sorry. But yeah, there are some restrictions around it. You've got to be low risk, which, yeah, baffles me, to be honest, because you'd think it's the women also with high risk pregnancies that need and deserve a known midwife. So look, if it's not something you didn't know about, go and research it, ask questions. Student midwife, yeah, that's also a great option as well. So look, having a known obstetrician, that's a continuity of care model too. But I think it's important to talk to, so if you are looking at the different options, actually talk to a few of them. Again, just because you've heard maybe an obstetrician through a friend that they said, oh yeah, my obstetrician was great. What I would also then question those was, did your friend have a natural birth or a cesarean or an induction? Because they may have a great bedside manner, however, have a really high cesarean rate if they're private obstetricians. And there are amazing private obstetricians who are very women-centered, support physiological birth. However, there are also many private obstetric care that their induction rates and cesarean rates are super high. So if you're wanting to have a natural birth, look into the statistics at the hospital you want to birth at, and it'll give you a bit of an idea of where that hospital is at for you to help navigate the system, or navigate or express to them what it is you want, and asking good questions to kind of like say to them, look, we would really like to be supported to have a natural physiological birth if everything is safe and well. Is that something that you do? Or are you more inclined to want to induce labor? Or what's your cesarean rate? Just help us understand as to whether or not you're the right fit for us. Now, I have a whole free resource actually on my website of questions to ask caregivers. So if you'd like to download that, you can just go to my website. It's under like the free resources page. But yeah, and also if you're not currently with the support you are getting, then search for a different care provider, or maybe look into hiring a doula, or go and do a independent childbirth education program, so that you both have the confidence to be able to know how to advocate for yourselves, especially birth partners. But yeah, we have professional birth workers, coaches and doulas to support you too. So I guess the best way to help you feel empowered in this experience is to do the research, educate yourself. And there's so many free resources out there with podcasts. some really great podcasts I recommend. One is, well, my podcast, the Nurture Hub podcast. We're on Spotify and iTunes. The Great Birth Rebellion is a really good podcast. It's with two midwives, Melanie the midwife and midwife B, and they share great information, evidence-based information. The other one that I really recommend is Evidence-Based Birth. And then the fourth one is called The Midwives Cauldron, again, by midwives. And they're just challenging the dominant birth culture here in Australia to get us thinking differently. But surround yourself with positive stories too. If anyone wants to share a negative birth story with you from here, but if they start, just say, can I stop you? I'm going to ask you to stop right now. And will you please share this story with me after I've had my baby? Ask for evidence-based information, understand benefits, risks, and alternatives to the interventions, to induction, to epidurals. Because I think in our culture, epidurals are very glamorized. Just get the epidural, and yes, it can definitely take away pain. However, with that though, you cannot be mobile. And we've got to understand physiology, right? And I've got my little props here. We've got it, like when you understand physiology and how your body works, this is what fascinates a lot of my clients when I actually do like demonstrations with my pelvis and my baby, in showing that the baby needs to make their way through the pelvic inlet into the mid pelvis and then come out the pelvic outlet. And if we are stuck on a bed on our back, you can actually see that it actually closes the pelvis. If we're not mobile, we are mammals. We need upright positioning, movement, pelvic mobility to make space for our babies. If we're just stuck on a bed with wires and things like that, we're not making space. So this is where other complications can arise. And with epidurals, this is what then inhibits that. So I even show positions with an epidural, with a peanut ball. So again, if you take that detour, it's not to say that it's wrong. There's absolutely time and place for epidurals, but let's get educated on how can I support myself with an epidural, but also understand the risks that can be associated with epidurals, because it is the opiate. It's a very strong opiate. It's like fentanyl. So there are side effects for you potentially after the birth, even for your baby as well. So get all the information so then you can make an informed decision at the time if that's the journey you are feeling drawn to taking. So where are we at here in Australia? I just want to be mindful of time because we're already almost at an hour. Oh my gosh. Where are we at statistically? And I did a look around, and I do share this in my programs because I want to help you all understand like evidence and stats. So where we're at here in Australia, this is from the Australian birth statistics. So it's called the Mothers and Babies Report, which is accessible to everyone. You can literally Google it. So at the moment, I shared this a little bit earlier. Here in Australia, we have a 38% cesarean rate, which is huge. The World Health Organization guidelines said that for safety of women and babies, we shouldn't be anywhere over 10%. We're almost 4 times that. The rate of spontaneous labor has fallen. So less women are going into natural labor or labor spontaneously. It's gone from 56% in 2010, and it's dropped now to 41%. And I think this is up to about 2020. There is a lag in the data. So it's about if we're kind of still a few years behind. And with COVID, I would say that would be higher now. Induction of labor has increased to 36% from 25%. However, it is higher in first-time mums. And when I did an interview with Dr. Rachel Reed, who is an academic who looks at the research, and she says from what she's seeing, the trend at the moment, around 46 to 47% of first-time mums are having their labor induced. 1 in 4 women were given an episiotomy. So this is where they will cut your perineum. We have one of the highest episiotomy rates in the world. And that could be linked to the high epidural rates. Because with an epidural, if you are on your back pushing, there's not much space. they may have a higher rate of then needing to use forceps or ventouse and then actually cutting the perineum. So again, it's just important that you understand this, because that could change your decision-making. And 80% of women are having medical pain relief, as I mentioned before. Now, that is a mix. So it's not just epidurals. That is the nitrous oxide, like that's the gas. So it's like happy gas. That's quite popular. And it's actually not really a bad option. Like, it doesn't affect your labor. There are some side effects for some women with it though. But I think we're at around about 49 up to 50% epidural rate. And then you've got your opiates of morphine, pethidine, which are strong drugs. So it's understanding, again, when it can help compared to also risks that are involved. In 2020, the main reason for induction of labor was diabetes, 15%, pre-labor rupture of membrane. So this means if your membranes, your waters break, but there's no labor, they will induce the labor, or prolonged pregnancy. So this is really important for you to understand what that means, because we've kind of, in some ways, within the system that we're in, we've got this, I guess, expiry date. And I hate putting it like that, but that's how they make us feel. That if you've not had your baby by a certain time, and in the public system, it's around 41 weeks and 3 days, there will be a recommendation of inducing the labor. Now, in some other models of care or private obstetric care, they may want to induce labor at 39 weeks. And that's even for women having a normal, healthy, uncomplicated pregnancy. So it's understanding when induction is needed. If there's complications in the pregnancy, if there's health problems with you or your baby, this is where medical intervention saves lives. But there's a lot of induction, a lot of cesareans happening for non-medical reasons. And sometimes it's absolutely by choice, but it's important to understand then the knock-on effects of that. And this is something that I delve into in Unit 1, where I talk about the physiology and the hormones that we need to birth our babies. These interventions inhibit those hormones, so therefore can have knock-on effects with breastfeeding and bonding and attachment after birth. So this is everything that I cover though in the courses. But look, honestly, learn about your body. But yeah, all hospitals and models of care can have different statistics though. So don't be scared to ask. Don't ask your midwife, what's the induction rate within that hospital? What's the cesarean rate? At what time will they support you in, if you do go over your estimated due date, because it is just an estimated due date. It's actually probably not date. Can I tell you? Only about 5% of women will give birth on their due date. First-time mum statistics show the average pregnancy lasts 41 weeks and 2 days. That's the average for a first-time mum. So when you understand that and prepare for that, and that's normal, then you're not putting so much pressure on yourself to bring the baby on if you're 30, 40 weeks. So how can you lower the chance of ending up in an induction or cesarean? Look, education, and that's what I want to help you stimulate tonight, and helping you to prepare for a positive pregnancy and birth, asking yourself questions of what do you want, what don't you know, because look, you don't know what you don't know, but there are 4 pillars of learning. And this is something that I come from a place of my training as a coach as well, and with hypnosis and NLP, which stands for neuro-linguistic programming. The first one is you don't know what you don't know, which is basically blissful ignorance. And a lot of parents are going into birth very blissfully ignorant with no idea of what's going on and what their options are. When you know you don't know things, then that's when you are inspired to learn. But then the third pillar is where you know what you know. However, when we say that knowledge is power, I'm actually going to rephrase it. It's actually the application of the knowledge that makes it powerful. So you can have the knowledge, but not use it. And this is kind of where when it comes to the courses I teach and how I support couples, I'm just here as a vessel of knowledge and information. 11 years I'm putting this program together with everything I've learned from all different modalities of training, of the women I've supported, of the books I've read, of the interviews I've done, is all coming into my course, and I will share it as much as I can with you. However, take from this what you want. You know, there might be some techniques that you may not like. That's fine. However, you may get into the birth and then go, I can actually see how this technique could really help. Let's pull that out of our toolkit. I'm so glad we at least learnt it and we had it. Didn't think I'd use it, but here we are. And the fourth pillar of learning is unconscious knowing. And when I talk to my clients about, once you've got the information, it's about practicing, so that come your birthing day, you don't even have to think about the kind of breath you're going to do through your contractions or when you're pushing your baby out. You'll just do it because you've practiced it. Or for the birth partners, that you won't have to think about the questions, and get your cheat sheet out. You'll just kick in and do it because you've had the conversations, you've learnt, and you've practiced it. Now, there's actually evidence around programs like I teach, and Dr. Kate Levitt, she's an academic, she's an acupuncturist and an academic and a researcher in Sydney, and she actually released a groundbreaking study about complementary therapies for labor and birth study in 2016. And the study details, it was a 5-year study of couples in and around Sydney, 176 couples in a mix of demographics in Sydney hospitals. And the study highlights a dramatic improvement for the study group over the control group who just did the normal hospital birthing classes. The hospital birthing classes are really great for information about what the hospital want and what their policies are, but they don't teach you techniques. If you go to a hospital birth class, they won't teach you breath work. They won't teach you movement, pelvic mobility, pain relieving techniques. They'll kind of tell you what your options are, but they don't teach you techniques. Whereas an independent childbirth education program like hypnobirthing, like the Journey to Birth program I offer, and you can also search your own area, in comparison to the control group, this is what came out of the study. The parents that did educate themselves and had these tools and techniques reduced the rate of epidural by 65%. It had a 45% improved normal vaginal delivery rate as well, 53% lower incidence of resuscitation of babies at birth. So there was less stress, I guess, on the babies. There was a 50% lower incidence of augmentation. So this means augmentation of labor is where you go into spontaneous labor and they will do things to you through the labor to get the labor really going. That's augmenting the labor. 44% also low instance of cesarean section. So if you're wanting to avoid induction cesarean, this is where this kind of information is super important for you. So I think I want to share with you like my philosophy, because keeping in time as well, that when you change the way you think about birth, the way you birth will change. And culturally, we've only seen birth kind of depicted quite negatively, fear-based, very controlled, medicalized. And so I want to show you a whole new way of birthing. And I'm so glad that I took the initiative to want to learn more, but then I've learned so much more than even when I had my baby. Like when I did my hypnobirthing course, we did no movement. We didn't have a ball. I had no idea. It was all about the meditation and hypnosis, which was great. And I definitely utilized that, but I didn't understand how to work with my body. Over the years now, I've done more training of working with mentors like Spinning Babies and Ginny Fang Davey and learning optimal maternal positioning and to show you movement, positioning for early labor, active labor, close to birth, so you can work with your baby in your body. It's just changed the whole way of like how my clients are birthing, because they know what to do. And if they come to a roadblock or so they don't feel something's right, they've got all these tools and techniques to help them. But please know, like, you are perfectly designed to birth your baby. Like, think about this for a sec. For those of you who are pregnant, your body is growing this beautiful little baby, and you don't even have to consciously think about it. Like, you're sitting here right now, you're going to go to sleep tonight, and your body is growing your baby. So Do you think if you got to the end of your pregnancy that all of a sudden are we that flawed that our body doesn't know how to do the job or finish the job off? Like, did nature get it that wrong for us? No. You can birth your baby. You absolutely can. If you don't believe in your own body's ability to birth, it seems like no one else will. And that's where I want to help you through mindset, body work, meditations, tools, and techniques to help you get to that point. And it's never too late. It really isn't. And that's where the program I'm like birthing at the moment, it's like big for me. This is like 10 years, it's been a 10-year gestation of me actually releasing my own program is a culmination of 10 years of knowledge and my own experience as well of helping you prepare for a positive and empowered birth through the mindset, relaxation tools, support, and really good education. And I'm super proud of it. But yeah, like I said, when you can understand how your body and the works and the physiology of birth, and I can show you how to work with your body. So, however, also if things aren't completely natural as well, it's understanding what that journey or those roadblocks look like and what your options are around it. So you're going to come out of it with a full birth map. And I have samples of birth, like a birth map for induction, for cesarean, for natural birth with an epidural, so that if you need to take that detour, you've then got preferences that you can then advocate for yourself for as well. So yeah, that's great, Shelby. And this is honestly, this is the awakening, Shelby, that's kind of happening for all of you. It's like this is your inner, like you're birthing yourself as a mother. You've got to realize this. You're not just birthing a baby, you're also birthing yourselves as parents. And like anything in life, transformation is not easy. And it should be exciting. You should be so excited to go through this amazing experience and actually see how amazing your body is. Like I was just in awe and a bit of shock at like, oh my God, I did it. Like it was, and I've been on a high from birth for 10 years. Like it changes you. And I want to like, this is kind of where we need to change the narrative and empower our mind and body for this experience, no matter what that journey looks like. And that's why I wanted to show, like these are clients of mine who've shared intimate photos, like this beautiful setting. This mum, she's in her zone. This couple here made the informed decision to then detour to cesarean birth, and they had a beautiful empowered cesarean and speak so highly of it because they knew that that's what felt right to them. And that for me is everything. And I want to clear up something though. And this is kind of why, like, yes, I've been teaching hypnobirthing for 10 years, but like, what is hypnosis? And I want to dispel what people think hypnosis is. And I think this is a lot of the guys I think too are like, what? This hypno what? They think it's some hippie woo-woo way of giving birth. And it's actually not that at all. Actually, all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. And no one has the ability to control your mind unless you allow them to, right? So when it comes to hypnosis in birth, all I'm teaching is techniques that you can focus on. That's it. Hypnosis is a state of focus. And when we focus on everything we don't want, where our focus goes, that's where the energy flows. And that's our culture in birth. We focus on everything that could go wrong, how painful it's going to be, the lack of control. And then we end up in that focus, and that's exactly what the experience turns out to be. If we shift the focus to everything that could go right, your whole perception of birth changes, your whole feeling of it. You feel that you are in control and you are the driver. And that's, that's really what this is about. And so I want to share just a very short snippet. We're almost done here. So thank you for sticking around. And I'm about to tell you how you're going to be able to win a spot in this new course. And this is like, 12 hours. There's so many videos. I've got meditations. I've got all this stuff that I want to share with you. And one of you is going to win a spot in this tonight. But I just want you to quickly hear from past parents that I have taught. Hannah is actually a midwife. Her husband, Garth, is a pediatrician, so they're medically trained. They actually had quite a traumatic birth. And then I taught them all of these techniques for their second. And this is just a little bit of a snippet of their story. Oops. Oh, hang on. There we go.
I never mentioned that no one was helping me because I felt support and just being able to receive the baby and have the baby, that was
Oh. Hang on, can't hear. Stop. One sec. Sorry, someone just said you can't really hear. Sorry, Bree. Let me just try this again. Make sure it's sharing with, oh, sorry. I didn't share the sound. My apologies when I logged off and came back on. Sorry, I'll try again. Here we go. I love technology. Let's try again.
Birth was 82 hours from when I broke my waters to when I had Avalia. I
Here now?
had an epidural, vacuum birth. I had so many different fluids going. But second time, was I 11 and a half hours, I think we worked out. Didn't even mention an epidural. I felt supported, so I never mentioned that no one was helping me because I felt supported. And just being able to receive the baby and have the baby, that was just like the best feeling ever. Hi, I'm Hannah Pilates and this is my husband Garth, and we're really excited today to share our hypnobirth story. And this is our little baby Arlo, who is 10 days old today. I'm a midwife and I work at the Gold Coast Hospital.
Yeah, I'm a doctor and I also work at the Gold Coast Hospital.
When I was a midwife doing my training, I had done a hypnobirthing course, which I really enjoyed, and I've seen women have beautiful hypnobirths. So when I became pregnant with Arlo, I was really overwhelmed in the very early parts of my pregnancy with the thought of having to give birth again. I wanted it to be a positive time and I really hoped to have like a more healing birth. So we looked into our options and I found the hypnobirthing program through another friend of mine who had done it and absolutely loved it. And she found it was just so effective for her.
Well, it was a tricky weekend actually, because it was a weekend I was working. And then Hannah kind of thought you broke your waters.
You ended up taking the day off work because we thought my waters might have broken, and I was getting Braxton Hicks, well, now they were probably early labour pains. We put Avalia to bed and Garth and I said, oh, we should have an early night, try and get some rest in case I go into labour early in the morning. As soon as my head hit the pillow, I just got a really quite intense surge.
Yeah, we put music on, then we got Hannah's parents to come pick up Avalia.
So we got to the hospital, into the birth centre, and my midwife had already set up the birth space for us, so the lights were really dim. I had the same rainforest room that we had with Avalia. I was just focusing on my breath, like the breath was just so important this time. And so I had the gas pretty soon after I got into the pool, and just focusing, I knew I had to do long, strong breaths anyway for the gas to be effective. So I was just focusing, just breathe in, lift myself up, then drop down. And I'd kind of come up and then just float back into the water and just let the water take my weight. I didn't have painless contractions, but I felt like I could handle it. My midwife asked me, my best friend's also a midwife, and she said that she'd like to come in, and it was just the perfect time. Like, I was just starting to feel that I'm not sure if I can do this. Like, this is taking longer than I expected. I got to this point, I thought this would be over. Am I getting stuck at this point now? And then they said, do you want Kirsten to come in? And I was just like, oh yes, that's exactly what I need. Like a fresh face, and I know she's just the most positive person. As soon as I see her, she makes me feel so good about myself. I knew if she came in and I saw her face, I could just keep going for that little bit longer. I had this really conscious moment at that time. Like, I was standing up, I had a bit of a break from contractions, and I was like, oh, where do I want to have this baby? And everyone just looked at me like I had just re-entered the room, like I wasn't even in the labor anymore. And I was like, do I want to have the baby in the water? Do I want to do this? Do I want to do that? And everyone was like, oh, okay.
Try to make it back into the water.
And then literally I was holding onto the side of the bath and I was like, I want to get back in. I think it'll be nice to have the baby in the water. And that was it pretty much.
Yeah, it didn't make it.
I just got this
Couldn't move then.
overwhelming urge just to bear down, and I was kind of leaning over the bath and I had one leg, my body just obviously
Yeah.
told me that I needed to do this. I had one leg completely up the side on the bath.
No,
like,
that was up in the air. I had to
up
hold
in
it.
the air.
I was holding the leg.
I remember just thinking I need to make space. I don't know why, my leg just went whoop. And so Garth was trying to hold one leg whilst also trying to like catch the baby as the baby was coming out quite quickly.
Yeah.
And
Slow the head coming down.
yeah, slow it down a little bit, because once I got that urge, it was just like, okay, this baby's coming out now. And he was born pretty much like a minute later, like it just all happened so quickly. So I had an hour of skin to skin, and we didn't even cut and clamp the cord for like an hour and 10 minutes afterwards or something. I was up straight away pretty much after that, in the shower, and we were home in bed. I had the placenta at 9:10, and I was home in bed by 12.
There's moments where we looked at each other and I was so proud of like how well she was going.
I could really see that in your eyes too, like when you looked at me, and
Made to be mum.
I just knew that that's how he felt. He didn't even have to open his mouth. The way he looked at me, I looked at him and I was like, he's so proud of me right now, and he knows I'm doing this. You never went to sleep, you never kind of switched off, you were always there and you were always present. And he kept talking to me in the middle, like in between contractions, you can do this, you know, you're doing so well. And I think because we'd practiced it before, it wasn't like, I could really feel you meant it. And because I really felt like he meant it, I really believed it. And every time he said it to me, it just helped me get through that. I hope you really enjoyed hearing Arlo's birth story. I would 100% recommend doing the hypnobirthing program with Shari. It's just completely transformed our whole birthing experience, and we couldn't be more grateful.
So take that as some inspiration. This is a journey that you're on, but you are the driver. And I want you to feel that. And I want you to feel that the power is in your hands. It is. You absolutely can have a beautiful, positive, and empowered birth. You just need to learn how, and have good support, have knowledge, have tools and techniques. And, you know, the more knowledge you have about yourself, then the more you'll be empowered. And if you are open and you want to learn breath work and movement and dads, birth partners, acupressure points, massage, all of these things to help you through the labor to navigate, then I would love to share more information with you. This is such a snippet to, you know, the passion that I have as a birth nerd now. But I'm just going to share just the options and tell you how you can go into the draw to win my brand new course. But I do offer, if you're on the Gold Coast, face-to-face classes in Robina every single month. I've got an evening course and a weekend, and I will also be holding live webinars. I just haven't held one this year yet because I'm about to go overseas for 3 weeks, and it just was going to clash. So when I get back, so it won't be till end of March that I'll have a live webinar. If you want to come live, that's just like this, learning from the comfort of your lounge room. It's a 14-hour course through 4 weeks or 4 units. You get folio meditations. I've created so many, like I've got walking meditations, I've got affirmations, I've got visualizations, all of this stuff, and a supportive Facebook group. But what I really wanted to share was this new baby, and this is a self-paced. The demand has been there for years for me to create a self-paced program, because everyone could attend live, or maybe it wasn't in the budget to do a face-to-face course with me. So I want to introduce my Journey to Birth self-paced online course. This is like where you get 12 months access to everything that I love and learn about birth. I have a whole module around induction, cesarean. It's still in the works though. So this is kind of where, for you guys, I want to actually give you a special offer, because I am in launch mode at the moment. I have uploaded the first 2 units with over 22 videos already in it with the first 2 units, but I am working through unit 3 and unit 4. So when I launch the course properly, I will be pricing it at just under $400 for all of that. However, because you've all attended live and one of you is going to go into the draw, for the next 7 days, I'm going to be offering it for less than half price, so over 50% off, and you'll get 12 months access for $197 plus GST. This course is, I think, worth so much more. However, I want to make it affordable because I want more to have this information. And this has taken me almost 9 months to put together. Filming, recording, doing visualizations, all of this stuff. Now, for those of you that want to go into the draw to win a spot, what I want you to do is go to Instagram and I want you to DM me a pregnancy emoji. That will tell me you have been on live up until this point. So if you don't follow me already, it's Belly to Birth. Send me a DM with a pregnancy emoji. For those of you that are here, I will export and then I'm going to do a random pick. That's your entry into winning this course. But like I said, if you purchase it for this price, that there is Instagram handle here, Belly to Birth. There we go. That you understand that buying it at this like discounted price, that you understand it's not fully uploaded. I'm in the process now of still editing and uploading. I've got unit 1 and 2 there ready to go. You'll get instant access and then you'll see the other modules come in. So you do need time for this. So if you're a little bit later on, then I understand time is limited. But as long as you're aware that this is kind of a special, I've not officially launched this course. However, I want to get it out there and people to start experience it. So would it be suitable for someone at 25 weeks? Absolutely. You are like the perfect time. If you want to do a face-to-face, that's normally when I recommend. But this is self-paced in the way of you can just watch, one video each day or like a few videos at a time, do the work together, and you'll have 12 months access to it. Whereas obviously when you come with me, it's like a 2 full day course if you want to do an in-person. For anyone that would be interested in working with me in person, Gold Coast online, I would like to offer a discount code. How do we purchase this? Christina, I'm going to, let me drop this in here now. Let me just stop this for 1 sec. I will definitely send an email out after the course, but stick around. For those of you, like I'm going to end this night with a beautiful meditation for you all. If you want to stick around, but here is the link to purchase. It's already been set up at that price of $197. I do have a payment plan available where you can pay $50 a week over 4 weeks. So if that can help you, as long as you're aware that unit 1 and 2 is up and ready, I'm editing unit 3 and 4 over the next few weeks. Well, I'm actually overseas for the next few weeks, but I will be doing work whilst I'm away. Slowly, I will be adding more, but within like the next 6 weeks or so, it should be up and fully complete. So there is a bit of a time there for the last 2, but I've already recorded all of unit 3, so I just need to edit it and get it up. But I want to get that out to you. Now, to end the night, thank you so much, everyone, for sticking around. Please ask, are there any questions at all? If there are any questions, please write it in the chat and I will answer. If not, then we're going to do just a nice, I want to take you through one of the meditations that I've created, and it's only short, but it's creating a bubble of protection around yourself. And I call it our inner sanctuary, where you are on this journey. Do not let anyone project onto you that you can't have the birth that you want. And so I want to help you create this protective bubble of energy that you can come into whenever you feel that you need it. But if there are any questions about anything, please type it in the chat. Otherwise, make yourself really comfortable. I'm going to pop some music on and I'm going to guide you through a bit of a breath and then a beautiful visualization and get you to call back in your power. For those of you that can't stick around, thank you so much for joining me. I hope this has been helpful. I hope it has stimulated some questions for you and helped guide you a little bit into the importance of how you can prepare for this experience. All right, get comfortable. You're welcome. I'm going to go into the meditation now. So if you want to lay down, you're more than welcome. Let me just restart this here. Okay. Okay, so you'd like to participate in this beautiful meditation now, just making yourself comfortable. And you can either sit upright or lay down. And just begin by gently closing your eyes. And just bring your awareness now into your breath. And just become aware of your breath. Just feel the breath as it passes through your nose and the back of your throat, into your lungs, and back out again. And now we're going to take 3 calm breaths. This is where you're going to breathe in through the nose to the count of 4. And then on the out breath, just release the breath to a longer count than what you inhaled. And as you breathe, start to imagine a warm, radiant light starting to form around you, enveloping you. Feeling this light as it surrounds you, creating a protective, glowing bubble around you. This bubble is your inner sanctuary and your shield of positive energy. As you take the steps now towards your positive, empowered pregnancy and birth, this shield of protection that no one can distract you whilst you are in this bubble. It's a place of tranquility, safety, and peace. And as you continue to breathe, feel the warmth and the security of this protective bubble, knowing that it is always with you and you can easily slip in or out of your bubble if or when you need to. This beautiful bubble now, you can see this path ahead of you. And there are a few different journeys you can take. And as you look ahead, start to see the journey you are feeling called to take, to bringing your baby earthside and bringing your beautiful baby into the world. Just notice the journey you're being drawn to and how you want to feel and the experience that this journey has in store for you. It's not one to be feared, it's actually one to step into, because as you step into this journey, you start to learn more about yourself and how strong and capable you actually are. And as you step through this journey, you feel a knowing that the right people will come in to support you on this journey, to guide you, to nourish and nurture you as you journey to birthing yourself as a mother, birthing your baby. And just feel that sense of calm connection, that innate knowing that you will make the right decisions every step along the way of this journey, whilst also being protected within this beautiful bubble of sanctuary. And as you continue to step through, just keep connecting into your breath and how calming the breath feels in your body, not just for you, but for your baby as well. It's time to connect in with your soul baby and call your baby in, and trust that your baby also will guide you on this journey. You do this together. And now take a moment to step into the visual image of that moment when you actually get to first meet your baby. Just see your baby in your arms. Feel the joy and emotion of that moment when you first get to meet your baby. Feel a sense of pride and how proud you are, for you are the driver of this journey. And you know and knew that regardless of how your baby came into the world, you gave your baby the best possible birth with whatever circumstances you were given, because you were prepared and you had the knowledge and tools to navigate that experience. And so now it's time to end this journey with you. Just slowly come back to the awareness of the room again. Gently opening your eyes, and I want to take a moment to thank you. Thank you all for sticking around. Thank you, Shelby. And I will check out those of you who have entered the competition through the messages. And from there, I will be in contact within very shortly. I'm going to go through them very shortly now. And I will DM the winner and announce the winner over email as well. Thank you so much. Please know you are the driver of this experience. This is just the first step on this journey for you. If you want to learn more, please reach out or take up this offer. It's only going to be for the next 7 days. And I'm super excited to share this course with you, with all of you, if it's something that you feel is an investment to help you on this journey. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope and there's more meditations. That was really short. The meditations in the course, I'm so proud of. I'm getting so much good feedback from the clients who have already gone through it. So thank you, everyone. Good night. Good night. And I wish you all the best on your journey. And I'm here to support you whenever you need. You're welcome. Thank you, Sue. Thank you. Thank you. Good night. Good night, everyone. Good luck. Manifest this course. Call in that winning that course. All right. Good night, everyone. I will leave you all there. Thank you so much.